If you're a car person, you probably know that the Volkswagen Golf Mark 1, or the Rabbit if you're in North America, has a cult following. Well, there's a whole nother level of nerdiness about this. From 1974 to early 1976, the first models had a whole bunch of weirdness and oddities, and the nickname that the enthusiasts have given it is the Swallowtail, of which this is my own one. Now, what would possibly make, why are there parts falling off of it? What could possibly make me drive 2,500 miles to drag this one out of the northern Nevada desert and pull it the whole way across America? Stay tuned to find out all about the Volkswagen Golf Swallowtail. So by the late 1960s, Volkswagen with their venerable Beetle knew that, well, a new wave was coming. The Ford Escort was becoming popular. Citroën and other companies started to have, well, hatchbacks. So in 1970, they made a deal with Giugietto Giugiaro of Ital Design, and he came along and presented what would become the Golf. This was the folding paper design. Lots of, well, folding paper edges. I hope you can just picture what I mean by that. There's no curves that don't belong, basically. There's a lot of space inside. This became the template for hatchbacks forevermore. They still, well, we're onto the 8th generation Golf, so it obviously worked. But in 1974, when it was launched, there were two little curves that really didn't belong. And this is where the Swallowtail name comes from. This little curve there. It's nothing but design. And it was only in the first full model year of 1975. Yes, this one was made in 1974, and early 76 models may have had it. But after that, it turned into a straight line, just like everything else on the Rabbit. The Rabbit was produced, sold officially from 1975 until 2009 in South Africa. So it went 35 years with a straight line here. But this first model year only, with the wings, the Swallowtail wings, these tiny details are what sets Volkswagen nerds' brains on fire. These tiny little details are what makes the hardcore Volkswagen Golf enthusiast feel like a kid in a candy store. Make you feel like the cat that got the cream, or indeed the vegan Ralph getting the tofu hot dog, or indeed like me waking up to my Sega Genesis in 1992 that my parents got. Thanks, Mom and Dad. I'm just trying to say, this is a really big deal. This little curve here, people literally cut the backs off of these and weld them into later models to give them this look. This is why it's called a Swallowtail. This entire video is based on this. It's very silly, but it means the world to Rabbit nerds. Today's video is brought to you by our good friends at SoloWerks Suspension, part of the KW family. SoloWerks has a big range of suspension for a lot of different cars, but right now, check out the description for a special coupon code for $150 off, plus free shipping on any complete set of suspension. And if you're in Canada, or if you have a Mark 1 Caddy pickup truck, also check out the exclusive coupons. They're valid only until the 16th of this month. What month are we in? October. If you're watching this in the future, I'm sorry you missed out. Don't miss out. Hit it up, solo-works.com right now after the video, after you like and subscribe. Thanks, SoloWerks. You know I'll take any excuse to nerd out about Volkswagens, right? This might be the nerdiest thing ever. This is your nerd alert. Ralph, I hope there's like sirens or something blaring on the screen right now. Nerd alert. If you don't want to nerd out, I apologize. Just like, subscribe, and leave with a thumbs up or something. I don't know. Swallowtail detail number 1. Every other Rabbit has Volkswagen on the left. Mark 1 City, Mark 1 Golf. If I say Rabbit, just let me interchange with that. Swallowtails have it on the left. So it's a Rabbit Volkswagen. Makes no sense thinking about it like that. But yes, metal badging, Golf or Rabbit on the left, Volkswagen on the right. Next up, this little piece of chrome trim here, only the early cars, not on the base models, incredibly desirable. What would you pay for this? $20 for this crappy piece of nothing? How about $200 to $400 to $500 all day long? Craziness. The taillights look the same, but they're not on the inside. The whole way they go together is weird as well. Let's open up the hatch. Oh wait, did you expect there to be a hydraulic lift like any normal car? No, you get a plain rod. It goes in exactly the same way, so you can interchange it, but it literally just drags down or drags up and pops in. Inside of the hatch is different. It has these little breathers here, only available on the Swallowtail. Super, super nerdy, super, super incredible. Chrome trim, that lasted longer. Chrome door handles, that is a giveaway. The door handles are different, they are specific, and they have a different texture on the plastic handle here. Can we just do this again? Can I do this again 100 times? Yes, I can, because it just works that well all this time later. So this is what, a 1974, today is 2020, that makes it 46 years old. It's wild that this still works that well. Anyway, inside the door latch is smaller. They went to a bigger one a couple years later. The small ones are early only. This is a USA Rabbit, so it does have the weird seatbelt attachment on here because Americans in the 70s couldn't be trusted to put their seatbelts on, so they made you do it. Chrome flag mirror. Moving along, well, fenders are pretty much the same. Interestingly, the Swallowtail does weigh less than later models, so a lot of them were used for racing, which is kind of a crying shame now, but people did work out you could save weight by going for the early sheet metal because a lot of the metal was different. The hood, yeah, okay, I got a little bit of a soft spot there. The hood is exclusive and only available on the Swallowtails. Every other Mark I Golf in the world, Cabriolet, City Golf, whatever, has an extra line here. Swallowtail is smooth. Why did they change it? I have literally no idea, but that makes these hoods ultra desirable. Being an early one, there was a fault, which they took away later. As I lift the hood, there's a bunch of foam inside it. And you will see, even from my Nevada desert Swallowtail, it has rusted where that foam collected rain and or mouse pee and corroded, which sucks. As I know you are yelling, my fellow nerds, right now, yes, I have a European small chrome bumper on the front, which is only in the early ones. Well, this was an American car. It has a big chrome bumper on the back. And this would have had a big chrome bumper to start with. I'm gonna go small chromes. It just looks cool. Over on the right side of the car, the fuel filler neck is different. Only first year or so, also the same as very early Scirocco's. So yeah, if you try and put a normal gas cap on it, it won't fit, which is super annoying. So of course, inside the Swallowtail, inside the interior and inside the engine bay, there's a bunch of weird things as well. Mine doesn't really have much of interior right now. It did sit in the desert for 20 years and it was just covered in rat pee and poop and it was absolutely disgusting. So we literally took the seats out and threw them in a dumpster on the way home. Do we want to talk about bringing it home? All right, let's do that real fast. So this got listed up online and we went out to a show called Worcester in Las Vegas, and it was, I don't know, 10 hours north of there near Reno, Nevada, but in the desert basically. And I took some parts out, we did some horse trading. I then slapped a A-frame towing apparatus on the front and I drug it on all four wheels 2,500 miles from the west coast to the east coast. The tires were completely screwed, so the first thing we did was took it to a Walmart and bought new tires for it. So one of the highlights of that journey, we went into downtown Chicago with this behind my long Sprinter van plus the towing apparatus, and we're merging on a tow booth, and this elderly gentleman decides that he's gonna slot in behind the Sprinter van in front of this. So we came to a complete stop because his bumper is now basically against the front bumper of this. Dan from England was along for the ride. He jumped out and went and just yelled at the dude, "There's no driver, man, like how are you gonna cut him off?" So yeah, we did manage to extricate it. It did make it the whole way, and then it sat here for like 10 years while I was busy with some other things. Now we're gonna build it, and we're gonna build it on YouTube. We're gonna have some updates, but let's get back to the interior right now. So on the interior, early dashboard, yes, that made it for many more years. If you were watching in England, if you were watching in Germany, guten Abend, danke für watching. The knee bar is American only. That didn't come over in Europe. Other weird things, the brake lines. Yes, the brake lines are right here. They run inside. These are the only Golfs ever made that have the brake lines inside the car. There's a bunch of other weird little things that had a Beetle shift knob instead of a later Golf one. Little things like that. Other cute things. Oh, here look, it's fallen off. The ashtray has the shift pattern laid out on it. Now we take Golf shift patterns for granted, and yes, they put it on top of the shift knobs quite often, but back then, Beetle shift knob, no layout printed on it, so it was on the ashtrays. Seats were not particularly unusual, although the ones I'm putting in this are a little bit special. You have to tune into a later episode for that. The door cards, however, are special. Nope. Well, over there, you can see it has the diagonal lines, and it is a Swallowtail or an early Golf only things. There are some other anomalies going on, but those are the big things. The floorboards even are a little bit different. Again, that sheet metal's a little bit thinner, but yeah, that's kind of the big things that I can think of. Underneath the Swallowtail specific hood, well, there's a lot of anomalies here. The early rebuildable strut mounts, the diagnostic port, even the sheet metal up here is different. There's a charcoal canister that is different. This one you're probably saying, this engine, Jamie, this isn't normal, this isn't correct. Yep, you are right. This is an obscure 20 valve non-turbo motor from Europe, which if you live in Europe is not obscure. I've put that in, left it covered in patina. I've bolted it up to the original 4-speed manual transmission, just low and slow. That's what I want to do with this one. Otherwise, the Swallowtail brakes sometimes are quite specific. We'll talk about that more as well, but this one I've deleted the brake booster with a very snazzy BFI bracket, which you can see in the garage hang videos from a couple of weeks ago. Other things that are different, the serial numbers, the stamps, these are all early car or Swallowtail specific. The early pump for the washer sprayer is weird. So yeah, there's just a bunch of weird things. On the original motor, even the alternator bracket was hand welded because they hadn't set up production for those, and they tinkered with them. So early ones are different than later Swallowtail ones, and then they went to normal cast versions. This has been just some of the oddities for the 1974, 1975, and very early 1976 Volkswagen Golf Mark 1 or Rabbit, depending on where you live. There's one more oddity that I want to show you inside, and a little bit of a teaser. A lot of the Swallowtail brakes were odd, but by far the oddest was the drum front brakes. Yes, the Volkswagen Golf did have drum front brakes. Very base model only, but here sitting next to me is a complete brand new or fully rebuilt setup. I mean, we are talking springs, every single piece that I could find brand new. This is all going on there, along with a 6-inch lowering from Gefeffert and a whole bunch of other rare things. But you'll have to tune in next time to see all of these goodies going into that rare Swallowtail. Normally in our car videos right now I'd be driving up to say goodbye to you, but yeah, this thing hasn't run in years and it's got a bunch more work before we get to that point. But anyway, thank you for hanging out with us. To be a YouTubey person, please like, comment, subscribe. Please tell your friends. Please let us know if there's anything you think we could be doing better or something you'd like to see in the future. And please do check out SoloWerks, who are presenting these videos. But for now, wash your cars, wash your hands, and take care.